Formula One has always moved in cycles, but rarely has a single midnight felt like an extinction event. The final laps of Abu Dhabi 2025 played out under fading desert light, sparks flying from titanium skid blocks, engines screaming one last time in a language engineers had spent 12 years perfecting. The ground effect era did not end with an explosion or a failure. It ended quietly, clinically, as if the sport itself knew that what came next would make everything before it irrelevant. When the calendar rolled over to January 1st, 2026, the slate was wiped clean, not softened, not evolved. Erased every aerodynamic trick Red Bull refined under Adrian Newey, every thermal efficiency miracle Mercedes built around the MGU-H, every loophole Ferrari learned the hard way to exploit, gone. Formula One didn't turn a page, it shut the book and burned the library. We now stand at the dawn of the nimble car era, smaller chassis, lighter mass, engines that are no longer dominated by combustion but balanced on a knife edge between electricity and fuel. And standing at the center of it all is a sight that would have sounded impossible just a few years ago: Lewis Hamilton in Ferrari red. Not as a ceremonial farewell tour, not as a legacy move, but as a calculated strike at an 8th world title. Because beneath the cinematic unveiling shots, beneath the influencer hype and launch events, there is fear inside the factories. The FIA has not just rewritten the rules, it has forced every team to relearn what a Formula One car even is. Engineers aren't talking about lap time anymore. They're talking about survival windows, energy debt, software failure states. This is a regulation set so complex that even the people who designed it aren't sure how it behaves at the limit. This is the story of how drag reduction died, how batteries became weapons, how braking zones turned into power stations, and how one set of secret numbers convinced the most successful driver in history to walk away from the team that made him a legend. At the heart of the revolution sits the power unit, and for the first time in over a decade, the most important component is not mechanical at all. For years, the MGU-H was Formula One's dark art, a heat recovery system so advanced, so expensive that only 3 manufacturers on Earth could truly master it. It harvested waste energy from exhaust gases, turning heat into electrical power with brutal efficiency. It was brilliant. It was also a barrier. For 2026, the MGU-H is gone, not reduced, not simplified, deleted entirely. The reason was political as much as technical. Formula One wanted Audi, it wanted Ford. It wanted American manufacturers and global brands who looked at the MGU-H and saw a money pit with no road relevance. Removing it opened the door, but it also opened a problem so severe that it nearly broke the rule book. Without exhaust energy recovery, how do you maintain power? The answer is the 50-50 split. Combustion and electricity now equals. In 2025, the electric side of the hybrid system contributed roughly 120 kilowatts. In 2026, that figure explodes to 350 kilowatts. Nearly half the car's total output now comes from the battery. On paper, this sounds futuristic. On track, it is terrifying. Because the energy has to come from somewhere. With no MGU-H harvesting from the exhaust, every joule must be recovered under braking via the MGU-OK. Drivers are no longer just decelerating into corners. They are charging their future speed. Watch the onboard footage closely. Braking points are earlier. Pedal traces are smoother. Drivers are consciously extending braking zones, not for control, but for harvest. If you miss your harvesting targets through a technical sector, the punishment comes later. Down the straight, at full throttle. When the battery state drops below its minimum threshold, the system derates. Power vanishes. Hundreds of horsepower disappear while your rival sails past. This is why engineers talk about energy debt. You can borrow speed now, but you will pay for it later. And if you miscalculate, there is no safety net. That philosophy extends directly into the most controversial change of all, the death of DRS. For 15 years, drag reduction was Formula One's necessary evil, a mechanical shortcut designed to fix aerodynamic turbulence. It worked, but it never felt pure. In 2026, the flap is gone. In its place is something far more dangerous: manual override, overtake mode. This system has nothing to do with aerodynamics. It is pure electrical warfare. If you are within 1 second of the car ahead at the detection point, the FIA grants you an additional ½ megajoule of usable energy. Not instantly, not automatically, it is placed into your energy budget like a loaded weapon. The leading car, bound by strict deployment curves, begins to taper its electrical output beyond 290 kilometers per hour to preserve battery life. The chasing car does not. It can hold the full 350 kilowatts all the way to 337 kilometers per hour. But there is no button that says, win. The driver must choose. Deploy on the straight and risk arriving at the next corner empty. Save it for corner exit and gamble that you can stay close enough. The cockpit has become a command center. Champions will be decided not just by bravery, but by arithmetic. And while all of this unfolds electrically, the cars themselves have changed shape. The 2026 chassis is shorter, narrower, 30 kilograms lighter. On paper, it is what fans begged for. In reality, it is a nightmare for aerodynamicists. Smaller cars with massive batteries generate brutal drag. The solution is active aerodynamics. Every car now operates in 2 states. In Z mode, the wings close, maximizing downforce for cornering. In X mode, the wings flatten, slicing drag on the straights. Every straight, every lap. This is not an overtaking tool. It is the default state of motion. But there is a risk no fan sees. These cars are no longer static shapes. They are machines that transform 20 times a lap. If the front wing enters extra mode before the rear, the aero balance shifts violently. In simulator testing, this resulted in spins so sudden they were classified as unrecoverable. Software glitches are no longer inconvenient. They are terminal. Drivers are piloting cars that are constantly changing their aerodynamic personality beneath them. One corrupted signal, one sensor failure, and physics takes over. This is where Ferrari enters the story. Early in the development cycle, one team cracked a problem the others couldn't: battery cooling. While rivals relied on larger radiators and bulkier side pods, Ferrari found a way to dissipate heat internally, tightly packaging the electrical system without the drag penalty. Look at the SF426. The side pods almost vanish. The rear end is impossibly slim. This gives Ferrari an advantage that doesn't show up in horsepower charts. They can run higher downforce in Z mode without sacrificing X mode efficiency. More grip in corners. No loss on the straights. Lewis Hamilton saw the data. In a regulation reset where every driver must relearn braking, energy management, and car behavior, the cleanest packaging wins. Hamilton didn't leave Mercedes chasing nostalgia. He left chasing efficiency. An 8th title demands nothing less. And Ferrari isn't alone in the new order. Audi has arrived in full force, transforming Sauber into a factory effort built on German precision and long-term vision. Ford has returned, partnering with Red Bull powertrains, supplying battery technology rather than badges. Honda remains. Cadillac waits in the wings. For the first time in years, Red Bull is exposed. No longer a customer team, no longer insulated. They are a manufacturer now. And if they fail to master the electrical era quickly, the consequences could ripple far beyond 2026. Max Verstappen has options, and the paddock knows it. As the grid lines up in Bahrain, every team arrives uncertain. Lap times matter less than understanding. This is not a season of refinement, it is a season of discovery. The FIA wanted Formula One to be fast, fierce, and jaw-dropping. What they created is something far more raw. a championship where machines fight their own limitations, where drivers balance instinct against data, and where the smallest miscalculation ends everything. The ground effect era is dead. What replaces it may be the most dangerous, demanding, and fascinating Formula One has ever been.